Hello and thank you for joining us today at Distracted by Life. Our podcast is all about making change within yourself and your relationships. We share conversations, stories, and explore ideas coming from our lifelong journey of the high points and especially the low points where we learn to face our fears or cope with pain, loss, and failure. We do this in a discovery quest to establish patterns around our past and understanding whether we are tripping up from our past or being held hostage by it. We work on identifying ways to move forward, aligning our core values, and unlocking the keys to self-awareness, self-acceptance, self-compassion, and letting go of what is not serving you positively in life. A better you is always there, ready to explore in a new world. So let's begin. Naturally, there are going to be storms in our lives, large and small. Our relationships, finances, health, and morality will all be put to the test at some point. These are the moments that build character. They show us who we truly are and give us clarity as to what we possess and those things we lack. The key to surviving the storms of life is building a solid foundation capable of weathering even the mightiest blows. What does this foundation consist of? We'll be exploring these with Amal. Welcome, Amal.
Hi, Dan. Glad to be here talking about storm survival.
Well, today we're obviously talking about surviving life storms, and I'm hoping you can share with us, what the foundations are that can help us cope with life challenges and storms.
I would love to share some of these helpful foundations. There are 13 of them that I would like to actually cover on this podcast today, and I feel like they're worth mentioning, starting with discipline. Think about it. When we're trying to weather life storms in general, we have to have the discipline. If a person doesn't have that willpower and mental toughness required to stay the course, then life is going to continually knock them over. Discipline is a building block number 1 here. When we look at the second one, courage, for very obvious reason as well. Leaders come in all shapes and sizes, but one thing they all have in common is courage. At some point in life, they stood up against the odds that was stacked against them and held their grounds. They did not waver or shrink from a challenge. So, as individuals, we should be great leaders in our own unique ways. And I highlight here our own unique ways because it's very different. Courage is different for different people. Believing and standing for our convictions, showing up for the people we love even when things are hard. So not avoiding, not hiding away, but showing up even when things are hard. And showing up to life. Leadership starts with living courageously, so does survival.
So we can be the leaders of our own lives.
Correct. And the third one here is maturity. And probably you're thinking, why did maturity make the list? Let's not confuse it with immature or irresponsible. Society gives us no shortage of things to desire. Many of them traps tempting us to go one way or another, and chasing desires blindly will often lead a person to a ruin. Maturity here is required to do the right things that we know will keep our family protected and secure, keeping us grounded, providing clarity, introspect in accomplishing a balanced outcome.
Thinking before doing.
Yes. The fourth one, family. Definitely connect to surviving life storm, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Regardless of the past histories we have, our utmost responsibilities is to our own families. So whether we get along with them, we don't get along with them, whether there are hurt, pain, or we shut them out. Reality is you can't weather life storm without families. We are called to love and honor our partners and raise our children with strength, conviction, and the moral fortitude.
So this isn't necessarily blood relatives. Family is those who are closest to you, those who you love and those who love you back.
Well, that includes both, also your blood relatives.
Yes.
Friendship is also important here, which is the fifth one. Friendship helps you do weather life storms because when you need to surround yourself with friends that support you and encourage you and they cheer you on. You know the saying that says the antidote to 50 enemies is one friend. even in this age of social media, we can actually connect with a great number of people, right? Facebook,
Yes.
Instagram, you name it. The reality of friendship remains still true. A person can count his true friends on one hand. It is definitely the case for me in my life. So cherish and honor those relationships. Nurture them. Keep in touch with them. All of the resources we can draw upon when we need, our friends are the most valuable. And I can tell you, I have drawn upon the strength and the resources that my friends offer me, the very few that I can count on my fingers, that whenever life got dark and I was lost in one way or another, they were always there for me and helped to pick me up and lift me up over and over. I am grateful for them. I look at this, the sixth one I like to include, which is confidence. And here also confidence for me is about preparation. Confidence is a learned trait. Anyone can attain it with the right effort. Education breeds confidence. And one way to look at it, or one should always know the enemy. In what sense I mean that by that? Whatever your troubles may be, they can be defeated by learning everything you can about them, educating yourself, preparing on what you're going to face, which gives you the confidence in standing and facing whatever that may be.
Preparing for the storm.
Yes. Once you are armed with the confidence knowledge brings, you are much more likely to come out on top. It's really simple. The seventh one is morality. Morality is the line that you personally design, that we all personally design, that you will not cross. So where is your line? Have you justified and reasoned away so far that your line has nearly been erased? Many of our problems in life are brought by ourselves, really, because we are probably moving or erasing that line at one point or another.
Or we may be moving it without even knowing.
Yes, very much so. That's a good point. This is especially true in relationships, right?
Yeah.
The good news is that if we are wise enough to look first at ourselves, do that, like that reflection internally, then we can begin to go about our business finding solutions. The eighth one that I like to include here, respect. And I know that might seem like, okay, weathering life storms, respect, what does that has to do with it? Well, it does. If you're so concerned in life with whether people liking or disliking you, is not ideal here or a measure to your worthiness or belonging. What's most important here is that you are respected as a human being. That tells us all we need to know about the power of respect. Treat others with the respect and you will be respected. So you don't have to have everyone liking you to succeed in life, but you extend respect to get respect back.
So the golden rule, treat others as you'd like to be treated.
Yes. And, well, some people could disagree with this golden rule because they would tell you maybe the way you want to be treated won't suit the other person. Definition of respect is different and to individuals, and it has its own individuality. I don't have to be your best friend for you to like me, but you have to meet halfway. Meeting halfway in life with people is that respecting ground that you need to build around things. Same with the saying, let's leave it agree to disagree. This is basically you're saying, I hear your point, you hear mine, I respect it, let's leave it here.
Which is good for working relationships.
Very much so. Number 9 for me is experience. The only way to be great at something, including life, is through experience. Normally, and it makes a lot of sense, right? Especially when weathering.
It's a big one.
Yeah, when weathering life storms. When we are in the middle of a storm and we are actually gaining invaluable experience. We don't always see it this way when life is it's
not at the time.
How can I put it this way? When things are so much messy and muddy and murky and shitty, we don't actually see it. We just see problems and we struggle and I don't know how I'm gonna do this, and this is a complete mess, and I failed and I didn't do this right and it didn't work out. How could I have done this? This is a huge failure. That's how we see it when we are in the middle of a storm. We're seeing that we are defeated, cloudy. We're losing, we're this, we're that.
Clouded vision.
Clouded vision. But we're not actually realizing in that storm, we are gaining the invaluable experience, the wisdom, the insight. We're learning what pain, disappointment, heartache look like, feel like. We're getting insights into suffering. This is not only help us in the future prevention, but it also builds inside of us compassion for those who are feeling the same things. Compassion is a great quality you will find actually lacking in the worst example of humanity. To have it, to possess a great gift. So don't be afraid to use it. Number 10 for me is faith. You can weather life storms or challenges or even hearing bad news or health dilemmas without faith. Do we believe in a greater purpose? Do we acknowledge in our hearts that we are moving towards something so grand that we are not yet meant to comprehend? Because that's what faith is believing in things that it's so very hard to comprehend at a human level or for the eye can see. We are just to obey and trust it. Faith will see us through anything. You know the saying that says, a faith is a necessity to a man, woe to him who believes in nothing. That was said by Victor Hugo. I also add grace into this, which is my number 11. Understanding that when one door closes, another will open. It's the deep knowing in our worst possible time. Grace has its own way of finding you when you are at the bottom and ready to throw in the towel in your darkest hour. That's how I see grace in the storms that shows up in my life. It's sweeter than anything I have experienced because when grace shows up, I find myself lost for words, my heart filled with light, and that is hard to explain and comprehend at a human level. Number 12 for me is hope. Again, you can weather life storms without having hope. Believing and pressing through even when no one else believes and gives up. It's literally being the last man standing in the forest and the wilderness of life with a deep sense of hope still lives inside one's heart. That's based on 3 elements when facing life storms. Trust in divine timing.
So that's your faith.
Yes, all is temporary. Pain and suffering, even joys, they all are temporary, because they are part of the ups and lows in life. That's just the natural course of life journey. The balance of equilibrium, it's a mouthful for me, which is a calm state of mind, the equanimity, that evenness, that all will work out in the end as it meant to be and even out, including your troubles.
With grace. It's amazing how those 3, faith, grace, and hope, so critical.
Extremely critical. Sometimes maybe some people are probably, if you're not spiritual enough or you might want to eliminate them or not look at them as key ingredients into weathering life storms. But believe it or not, they are very, very, if not the foundation of weathering life storms. This doesn't have to be, you have to be part of a specific religion to believe in them. They are universal. We all have them, and we just have to tap into them and believe in them. The last one, which is number 13, I grouped them all together actually, is resilience, perseverance, and surrender. And when we look at resilience, again, having the mental toughness to keep going, bouncing back and keep going, not giving up. You get knocked down, you get up, and you still keep going. Perseverance, same concept. Steadfastness to continuing, pressing through setbacks and bouncing back quicker. Surrender is letting go for the need to control all outcomes and plans. Having openness to lean in and meet the moment as it arises as best as you can, without having to place high expectations on results or be attached to results. It's taking a risk by leaning into this unknown territory without knowing how it will turn out and no expectation of getting it right for the first time. And that is something I can tell you personally I struggled with for quite a while. But I would say after I did a lot of the work myself that inspired me to be a coach, a life coach, a mindfulness coach, a leadership coach, is that I finally learned that surrender is something that is required. Can hold on to things, can control everything, and just kind of meet the moment as it arises and lean in and let it guide you and guide those actions for that specific situation for that specific time. I hope you found these 13 foundations useful and would give you some sorts of insights and enlighten you and help you weathering your life storms. My final thoughts to my audience here is life is a constant change for sure. We all know that. And it offers both the good and not so good times. How we survive these storms depends on how equipped we are internally to show up during these difficult yet challenging storms. Some people may crumble, some may rise. However, it all depends on how we mentally prepare we are. We will not always see the solutions or predict the problems in advance, but we can rely on building the internal resources that will help us face our storms in the best possible way we can. Thank you for tuning in on Distracted by Life. May you live with ease. May you find the strength to weather life storms. You make the journey worthwhile. I wish you well. Until next time, it's over to you, Dan.
Well, thanks, Amal, and thank you all very much for joining us here today on Distracted by Life. If you're interested to learn more, check out our podcasts, of course, or hop online to Amal's website at amalcandido.com, where she talks about her coaching world covering life, leadership, and mindfulness, including links to popular podcasts and also to her books as well. With that said, stay tuned for our next episode from Amal and myself. Thanks again, and talk to you soon.